Last week, I made some delicious lasagna in a crock pot. And a lot of people asked me for an after pic of what the dish looks like. And I forgot to take it before I dug my fork into it. People were also asking me, how I made it. So it's really simple. You use whatever lasagna recipe that you currently use. The only difference is that instead of cooking it in a conventional oven, you would cook it in your crock pot. So, by no means am I a chef, but I am going to share with you what I did and what I like and how I make my lasagna. If you're looking for a recipe, you will not get that from me. If you ask me about measurements and ingredients, you will get a pinch of this, a pinch of that, a lot of this, a lot of that. So, I can only, show you what I do and what I like. So, check out the video. I prefer Johnsonville mild or sweet Italian sausage. I'm not a spicy person, so I don't like hot food. So I start out by boiling my Italian sausage just to ensure that they're done and well done on the inside. After that, I remove them from the heat and I take them one by one or maybe by twos and I start to cut them up in very small pieces. Continue to cut your sausage until you get it down to the size that you desire. I don't like my pieces too big, but I also don't like them too small. So I'll just continue to cut through the sausage until it's to my desired size. And then after that, I will move the sausage over into a saucepan that is lightly lined with olive oil. So now that we are all done cutting up all of our sausage, I put them all into the saucepan with the olive oil. And I cut that pan on medium to low to let my sausage cook and brown a little bit more. Meanwhile, I have washed the pot that I originally boiled the sausage in, and I'm going to cook my lasagna noodles in it. Because my pot is rather small, I am going to break my lasagna noodles into halves or thirds just so that they will fit into the pot initially while they are still hard. All right, now it is time to add the sauce. Prego is one of the brands that I prefer. I have several, but Prego is one. I usually try and get one with some Italian type seasonings or basil or cheese. They have various ones, but today I am just using original. So I'm going to pour that in. I'm going to stir it up and mix it well with my meat. And then I'm getting ready to add my own seasonings to season it to the taste that I like. So you're more than welcome to use whatever seasoning that you're accustomed to using. It's totally the preference of the chef. So whatever you like, feel free to use it. So first, I'll start with a little bit of parsley. Next, I'll start with some garlic powder and sprinkle that on. And everything I'm kind of sprinkling around just the top of the sauce evenly. And then my new favorite seasoning is Badia Complete. It's a mixture of spices and herbs, and I believe it has a little bit of garlic powder. It has a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, but it's a complete seasoning. Like you really, honestly, don't really have to use anything else. And I also add a tad bit of salt. Don't shoot me. But yes, I have been converted to liking sweet pasta. So I do add sugar to my sauce. You do not have to add sugar if you don't want to. I think this is sort of kind of like the sugar versus salt in the grits. But yes, I do like sugar in my sauce. I feel like it knocks the edge off. Kind of like when you cook greens and they're a little bit too tart and you add a little bit of sugar just to, knock the edge off. I feel like this does the same thing for my sauce. So I'm going to stir it up, mix all those seasons in there, and I'm going to let it simmer. If you do notice that your sauce is too thick for your liking, you can add a little bit of water to the original jar that the sauce came in and then add that to your pan, and that'll help loosen up your sauce just a little bit so that it's not super, super thick. So I'm going to give this a good twirl and swirl and just mix it up really, really good. Let those seasonings spread out evenly throughout my sauce. And I'm going to let this cook and simmer while my noodles are still boiling. All right, so here's what my sauce looks like. And here are what my noodles look like after they have been boiled. So now it's time to add our mixture to the crock pot. So I have my crock pot set up here. I'm going to remove the lid. All right, and then the first thing that I'm going to do is spray it with cooking spray. Lasagna is very easy to burn because the majority of your ingredients have already been cooked, so it doesn't need a lot of cooking time inside the crock pot, and therefore people will forget that and they can easily burn, and the contents of the crock pot will stick to the sides. So I'm going to start by first putting a layer of sauce at the very, very bottom. Definitely because I don't want my noodles to stick to the bottom or my cheese. So I'll just kind of spread that out evenly just to cover all of the bottom. And then I'm going to put a layer of cheese. So I prefer mozzarella when I'm making lasagna. However, due to COVID-19 and me not wanting to go back into the grocery store, I'm going to use some of this cheddar that I already have. And cheddar never hurt nobody. So I'm sure it'll taste just as delicious. All right, now I'm using my tongs to layer my lasagna noodles. And again, it's just one thin layer that I spread around evenly. Notice I did not use ricotta cheese this time around. I'm not a big fan of ricotta, but if you do season it up really, really good and make a good mixture, it can add some flavor and definition to your dish. However, I'm just not a big fan of ricotta. So after I've layered those noodles, next I'm going to add another layer of cheddar cheese, not mozzarella. And I'm just going to make sure that's all even and nice and smooth. And I'm going to add another layer of meat. Smooth it out. All right, now let's put some of this tasty mozzarella cheese that I have, which I do not have a lot of, so I'll be mindful in that because I love to have a layer of mozzarella on top. And next, I'll put another layer of noodles. Again, you want to make sure there's even coverage. So however many noodles that will take for you to spread them out to cover the entire layer of meat. All right, and normally I would have another layer of meat, but because I'm not cooking this dish for a lot of people, I didn't make a large amount of sauce. So I'll just finish it off and top it off with the cheese that I have left. And if you get a crumble, as long as your hands are clean, if you've washed them, feel free to uncrumble that cheese with your bare hands. And again, I spread everything out to make sure it's even. And then I'm going to top it off with a little bit of seasoning. It adds a little bit of extra flavor, and then also it just looks cute to have spices cooked into the top of your dish, in my opinion. All right, so we're gonna put the top on and we're gonna cook that on low. Key, low. Do not cook this on high because it will scorch and your dish will definitely burn and stick to the inside of the pot. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes and you just want to make sure the cheese has melted all the way through and you don't have any of your food sticking to the sides of your pot. You can take a spatula, but my spoon is actually sharp enough to cut through the lasagna noodles. So I'm going to scoop out a nice helping and put it on my plate. This dish pairs well with garlic bread, with side salad, and definitely a glass of wine. So thank you guys for watching.